American presidential campaigns follow a traditional pattern familiar to the nation's 158 million citizens. Each candidate wages his campaign for the individual voter. He makes his greatest effort to win the support of the individual. He thinks in terms of the individual rather than the mass. Television has been the means of reaching the greatest number of people with this type of personal appeal. More than 60 million people can both see and hear the candidates and their supporters right in their own homes. Newspapers play an important part. For weeks prior to the election, the issues of the campaign are debated in the press, make banner headlines in the country's 1,780 daily papers. Some papers favor one candidate, some favor another. In addition to these modern methods of communication, the candidates of the two major political parties still take the issues directly to the people. Planes and special railway trains carry the candidates through the country for a series of speech-making stops and personal appearances in the hundreds of cities and towns along the way. These are called whistle stops. Technicians connect microphones to the rear platform, from which the speaker's voice is carried over loudspeakers to the crowds. Here, President Truman is campaigning for the election of his party's candidates. The president's voice is recorded on tape machines to be rebroadcast later. Business and civic groups, workers and townspeople, the local school band, all turn out to make each rally a gala event. A brief stop. The train moves on to the next town, and for days to come, the speaker's visit is the topic of conversation. On board, the candidates' trains, campaign managers map their strategy. Facilities are provided for some 60 newsmen. Their stories are flashed from the press car to the entire country. A mobile plant provides the power so that by radio telephone, each candidate's train is in communication at all times with headquarters. Radio commentators record their programs and also broadcast directly from the train. In this way, the nation knows how the campaign is going. From biggest city to smallest town, everyone knows it's an election year. Everyone talks politics. Volunteers work to win votes for their candidates. Each party unites within its own ranks for the common cause. Senator Estes Kefauver, a strong contender for the Democratic nomination, puts aside the disappointment of personal defeat and campaigns for the party. The Democratic candidate for vice president, Senator John Sparkman of Alabama, campaigns for his party. At the same time, the Republican candidate for vice president, Senator Richard Nixon of California, tours the country for his party's cause. Thus, the issues are brought to the people as the candidates devote the weeks before election to traveling up and down the country. Keeping busy a staff of secretaries and office workers, the candidate of the Democratic Party, Adlai Stevenson, the governor of Illinois, works on his speeches as he travels. In a few months, he has become a national figure. While his staff keeps the press informed, the candidate holds conferences en route with campaign managers and party leaders. Because the United States is an area nearly as large as Europe, candidates must travel far, travel fast, and visit many places. And while General Dwight Eisenhower is one of the best-known Americans in the world today, he now appears before the people in a new role, the role of a civilian nominated by the Republican Party for the presidency of the United States. As his party's candidate, Eisenhower travels through city after city, seeking the support of the people. This face-to-face campaigning is typically in the American tradition. In the Midwest, the donkey, symbol of the Democratic Party, is paraded with a group of students across a university campus to greet Stevenson. Everyone wants to shake hands with the candidate. And so, to the cheers of the crowds, the campaign trains roll on across the country. Stevenson dines with a farm family, then attends a national gathering in Minnesota which brings out 100,000 farmers. This provides an excellent opportunity for a candidate to talk and mingle with rural folk. The same day, Eisenhower also comes to address the farmers, to meet them on their own ground. In this way, the people see each candidate in person and form an impression of the man. Visiting his hometown is a custom for any candidate. With two of his sons, Stevenson visits his birthplace in California. Eisenhower follows the tradition. His birthplace in Texas is indicative of the modest background of most American presidents. In New York, Senator Taft, who vigorously sought the Republican nomination for himself, pledges his support to Eisenhower and campaigns for his election. As the weeks go by, the candidates travel thousands of miles, make hundreds of speeches, and are seen by hundreds of thousands of people. Crowds, people standing for hours in all kinds of weather, photographers, all a part of the pattern that makes an American presidential campaign an exciting demonstration of government by the people. And now the campaign is over. The candidates have presented the issues. Now the decision is up to the people as each individual voter casts his ballot. Election night in New York City. Crowds gather before the electric sign in Times Square to learn the people's choice. All over the country, party workers gather at local headquarters to watch and wait for the returns. Shortly after midnight, Stevenson concedes the election.
I have sent the following telegram to General Eisenhower at the Commodore Hotel in New York. The people have made their choice, and I congratulate you. That you may be the servant and guardian of peace, and make the dale of trouble a door of hope, is my earnest prayer. Best wishes, Adlai E. Stevenson.
Just as I came down to the ballroom, I replied to that telegram as follows. I thank you for your courteous and generous message. Recognizing the intensity of the difficulties that lie ahead, it is clearly necessary that men and women of goodwill of both parties forget the political strife through which we have passed and devote themselves to the single purpose of a better future. This, I believe, they will do. Signed with my name.
Elected by the people, Dwight D. Eisenhower, upon his inauguration, becomes the 34th President of the United States of America.